we all go through fears and insecurities and doubts and things like that. Nobody's really immune from that. But I think it's when you stay in those places that cripples you, right? And if you have the right people around you, I'm very like, I read my Bible every day. I really have a great relationship with God. So that also helps. We need that. I think, and we need each other, right? I think that having the right people around you to help you walk this journey of life is really what it's all about, right? We're all supposed to be here to complement who we are in God, right? We need each other to function, to move forward, to get to where we're going. And, I'm just not afraid to ask for help.
Welcome back to the Balance Boldly podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Ren Thigpen, here to be with you in this vivacious month of April. Let's think about that for a moment. This is April 2021. I know like 2 weeks ago, it was just New Year's. A month ago, it was just Christmas. And like 2 months ago, we were all trying to figure out what this pandemic is and how soon it would be over. That's how fast this year has gone. We are already in the second quarter of the month. And whenever you are listening to this right now on the day that this drops, or somewhere in the ether of 2 years from now, I want you to remember how fast your life is going and how important it is to give yourself permission to slow down so you can speed up and do more of what you want. That is why I am super grateful, as always, to have another dope woman in the room. Hello, another dope woman in the room. Can we get it? I want to welcome in Shondell Varciana. She is the owner of Varci Media, a content writing company that helps financial institutions save time by writing content that speaks to their target audience. She said, slow down. Let's get the content out of your head. Let's see what your people want. Let's make sure that you are calling the right people so we can speed up and give them the transformations of whatever kind of impact that you are doing through your business. Shondell, welcome to the Balance Boldly podcast. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I just love you. You're so amazing. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
I am super thrilled to have you. I have to tell everyone. So Shondell and I were chatting it up in the green room, the virtual green room, of course, because we are still respecting some semblance of social distancing over miles, because I'm right outside of Philly and she is clearly in the southern states. With that said, we were in such a groovy conversation that we almost didn't record this conversation because we felt like we had did it already before anyway, because that's how juicy the energy is between us. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I could talk to you all day.
Exactly. She's like, and meanwhile, I have a business to run, Naketa, so don't play with me. I could talk to you all day. I would love for you to share with everyone just a little bit about what you do in the world through Varci Media and whatever else you have going on in your life right now.
Yeah. So I own a content writing company. We write for financial institutions. I started the company in 2014 and I've just been working with financial institutions, banks, credit unions, and mortgage companies. And we write blog posts for them. And typically we write monthly content for them. We don't do one-off work. We do monthly content for them. And that's where we are today. And I've got a team of about 10. There's about 10 of us. And we make it happen.
No, I love that. Now, I've heard from people in my financial circle that it gets real icky sticky when you have to have those conversations, because all the things you can't legitimately talk about because of whatever licensees that your one client firm might have, so they can't share certain kind of information. Are you running into that on the Varci Media side, like trying to extract the information without them being worried about, fiduciary responsibilities or, crossing a boundary with, I don't know, whatever financial legal states they have to subscribe to not give free information that might taint someone's financial decision, or that's not the kind of information that you're writing for them?
No, the great question. I'm asked that quite often, actually. And usually before we even start writing for any of our clients, we do a lot of upfront work before we even start talking about topics and content and things like that. So we do what's called a client audit. And that's just something that we've created over the years that it's like a 30-page document where we get a lot of information on who they are as a brand, what message they want to relate to their ideal audience and who their ideal audience is, because we come in as ghostwriters. So we have to write on behalf of them. So really, when we come in and write, nobody knows that, it wasn't us that wrote the content last year versus this year. So we have to have that same language. And more importantly, the content that we do write is content that their target audience wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really all the content that you should be putting out. And that's what we always say to our customers. It's never about what you want. It's always about what they want. What are their pain points? What are they complaining about? What are they talking about? What do they want? And just be a part of the conversation that your ideal customer is having. And then you just create content based on what it is they're talking about, misconceptions that they may have. Incorrect information that they may have. You can just create content based on what it is they're talking about and be with them on their journey. Because with financial institutions, they have customers from 18 until death. So that's pretty much everybody except children that are their customers. So our goal is to always help them to build quality relationships with their ideal customer so they can be a part of that journey and provide them with information that they need throughout their journey, wherever it is that they are.
Yeah, you have a really unique niche in an industry with a lot of restrictions around them, technically. What led you to that? Like, what's part of your background, your professional portfolio that made you say, yes, these are my people? Because most people will be like, financial, right?
Yeah. Great question again. So I started working in banking when I was 18. I'm originally from Canada. I was born and raised in Toronto. And I started working in banking when I was 18. And then at 20, I bought my first property. And then 25, so I was 25 or 26, I bought my second property. And so I was still working in the bank at this time. And then I worked for one of the largest banks in Canada called Bank of Montreal. And I left there. And then I started working for the federal government, a company called Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. They're the same thing as PMI here, but they're owned by the federal government. And then while I was there, I paid off both of those mortgages. The property that I was living in and the rental property, I paid off those mortgages. And a girlfriend of mine suggested that I told maybe 5 people. I don't even know if I told that many people. And one of my friends suggested that I start helping. She was just going crazy. Like, how did you do it? And all this kind of stuff. And said I need to help other people to do the same thing. And I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. And she's the one she's very tech savvy. Me, I had to learn all this stuff.
Right.
But she said, you should blog. And I didn't even know what a blog was this is back in, I paid off those mortgages 2011, the last one, December 2011. So I would say around January 2012-ish was when I started to blog. And I just taught myself how to blog, created a website. And then I was a part of that whole personal finance community.
Yes.
And over time, my blog started to get really popular, and magazines and radio stations started contacting me, just wanting to hear my story on how I did it. That led to an opportunity with a lady by the name of Gail Vaz-Oxlade. She's the Susie Orman, but of Canada. At the time when I had met her, she had 3 television shows at the time on TV, and working with her opened a bunch of doors because she has a huge platform and people just started to get to know my name. So then companies started contacting me, wanting me to write for them. And I started getting so busy. And at this time I was still working Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. And he was my boyfriend at the time, but my current husband now.
Yes, yes.
It's so funny. So he suggested that I hire writers. And I thought, well, that's a good idea. I never even thought about that. So that's what I did. I just started hiring writers. And then literally the business eventually the business was paying me more than Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. So I just thought, I don't really need the job anymore. And I knew that it was opening. I was seeing things that I had never seen before. And I was being exposed to things that I never was exposed to. Because I didn't grow up with entrepreneurs or people who were self-employed. So everyone in my life worked for a company, and Canada is very different than, Georgia. Ontario is different. Like, it's run by large corporations where I'm from. Here it's run by small businesses. So it's a lot different. And so I was just exposed to a different life that I loved. And I loved the flexibility, the freedom. And literally I just brought the business to Atlanta simply because I absolutely love this place. And and here we are.
No, listen, you were like, I'm leaving Canada with a major business, a man, and
And I was pregnant too. When we found, yeah, like it was a whole. But when we found out, like to move to the U.S. from Canada, you got to go through all these legalities. But we ended up. We were able to live here and run a business because of that business. And I remember when we went for an interview at the U.S. consulate, we found out we were pregnant after that interview. So we found out that, and we had been trying for 18 months to that point, and no, because my plan was to have the baby in Canada. Because in Canada, you get 1 full year off with pay. So So why would I want to, have the baby here?
Seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We weren't getting pregnant. So anyways, after that interview, on our drive home, we stopped and got a pregnancy test and found out we were pregnant. And so it's like my dreams were coming true, like within like a couple hours. We found out we were going to move to Atlanta and that we were pregnant. So it was just, and now she's 6.
Oh, which I love. And I know she has a sibling.
Yes, I have a 1-year-old too. So, 2 kids, and that's it. That was the second and final round.
Listen, you went from being a very high level professional to an entrepreneur who is married with children in a new country, basically,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
All of those things with all those layers of that transition and this very rapid kind of fast growth that was happening personally and professionally. Were there any pain points for you? Because I know you extract pain points from your clients, so you can your writers can pull it out of them and they can give information. Like, what were some of your pain points that you experienced that you like to share with everyone listening?
Yeah. So when we moved here, my husband wasn't working, so it was just my business that we were relying on, and so we had one large client. Like we had a bunch of clients, but there was one particular client that was literally paying. One client was paying us more than my government job.
Right.
And, we lost that client like 2 days after we moved here. Yeah, we lost that client, and the reason why we lost that client, which I later found out, was because one of my writers was poaching their clients. So we're ghost writers. So we and our writers write for our clients.
Right.
And I didn't know that she was poaching. I didn't know that she was poaching their clients. And so at the beginning, I didn't have non-solicitation and non-disclosure contract, any of that stuff. So that taught me a huge, hard lesson. The importance of, making sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's, because that was such a hard pill to swallow, because I didn't know that this was happening. And when I had found out, obviously, we fired her. But after that, we don't take on any clients that don't sign our agreement. And now by this time I got a lawyer involved.
Right.
Had a lawyer, had a contract lawyer, and had him do up a contract for our client. So everything is clear. And no, we don't take on any staff that will not sign our contracts either. So that was a hard pill to swallow. But you know what? Since then, this was probably year 1 of our business or year 2. We have never had that problem again. And, contracts are not perfect, but at the same time, I think that it's just, people will think twice if they've signed a contract and if they're going to do something like that, because that's just not who I am at all. So I was just shocked that that even happened and that we lost the client, because it wasn't even something I did personally. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? Whoever you hire represents the brand, represents you, represents the company. You just have to swallow the pill and just move forward. But that was a huge pain point and a tough lesson to learn. But you know what? It also taught me to hire better, to hire, ask better questions, do a little bit more digging up front before we hire. But these are just things that come along with running a business. But we've gotten much bigger clients then. We've gotten much bigger clients since then. But that was a hard lesson early on in the business.
That's the kind of thing that would make, that we have a lot of other women entrepreneurs, some married, some partnered, all the things in between, and a few brave men. I won't leave our men out that listen to this show, but most of them have some position to hire. If they're not already hiring, already have teams, they have the authority to do it, but there's some hesitation because of things like what you went through. Like, well, what if I can't trust them? Your business is virtually another kid. It's another baby. Yes. And you're very protective about who you leave your baby with, who watches your baby when you go out on date night, right? Like Absolutely. You're very, very careful. And we don't want to, with all the the lack of privacy that's already out there in the world. You don't want to over scrutinize your baby and make it feel like it's trapped where there's nanny cams everywhere, right? Like where you have to be like, oh, you have to work. An example I'll give is my daughter's at Morgan State University. She's a rising junior. She's a sophomore right now in college. And one of the tests they were taking the other day, she said you had to take the test, like all of them were taking it. They took the test on the camera. And if you went with audio on and video on, and if you went out of screen while you were taking the camera, it paused your test until you came back into screen. I was like, all this for freaking biology test? Like, what did they think I was going to, like, I don't understand, but okay. Like, it's biology. Like, what are you going to do with this information?
Yeah.
Because save a soul. Like, I don't understand. But they were like very serious because now that the schools have the ones that were not familiar, like Morgan, which is a traditional HBCU, they weren't familiar with all this virtual world. Mm-hmm. They went from, we don't know what to do, everybody just pop up on Zoom and we'll figure it out, to we have to really protect our accreditation.
Yes.
So they like for nanny cam mode, right? Like with everything. So the kids have anxiety. Well, the young adults, the young adults have anxiety now because they're like, we're freaking being watched. Like, I'm taking a test. I might rub my head, touch my nose. Like, like what is happening here? Yeah. And it's not just the camera. There's actual TAs that are watching the camera behind while you're doing it. And I don't know if this is just this class in this, particular, she's a business student. So I don't know if it's that college within the university that's doing it or all universities are starting to do it. Wow. But businesses are becoming very big brother watchy nanny cam room as well, because they're so afraid of not trusting the people that they hired because of stories like what happened to you that hasn't slowed you down. It hasn't stopped your business growth. It just got more streamlined and smart. So I would love for you to speak to what was the separation for you to not let it hold you back from continuing to grow.
Because it's who I am as a person. I've always had this mindset of, like, if somebody hurts me, I'm going to love harder the next time. I'm very big on not allowing somebody's actions or who somebody is to dictate who I am and how I show up in this world, even though I may be hurt I just think that's just part of life, right? And you don't know what you don't know. So instead of allowing something like that to destroy me or just knock me completely down, why not think of, okay, well, this happened. Now what do we do? Let's get smarter. Let's get contracts in place. And, you hope it doesn't happen again. And if it does, then you get even smarter. Right. And I surround myself with people who are a lot higher than me in different areas of my life. So people who businesses are making more money, people who have been where I am so that they can help me and coach me and things like that. So I'm really not afraid to get around people who are where I want to be, because that helps me to get to where I want to go faster. And the other thing too is if because I also coach people that, want to get to where I am. And, talking to people sometimes who just want to be like a one-man show. The thing about that is you stifle your growth. You cannot grow if you're doing everything. And I'm a big believer in preservation. Like, I am not trying to do everything I'm not trying to be a super mom. I'm not trying to be, I just think that it's better if I focus on, what I enjoy doing. I only want to do like 5 things with my life, and everything else I pay someone else to do. Because I just want to, like, on the weekends, I don't want to be cleaning and cooking all weekend. So I hire someone to clean the house so that 4 hours or 5 hours that I can spend, like, we have like 8 to 10 loads of laundry a week. So have somebody do our laundry and clean the house, that takes a significant chunk of time to do. But now I could be spending quality time with my husband and my 2 kids, not doing that. Right. So I'm really big on getting help when it's needed, so that you can focus on doing things that you enjoy more. And if you have that mindset of, I'm going to do everything myself, you end up getting worn out. You end up always being tired and it's not productive, in my opinion. So that's just the reason why, you learn something new, you try to be better and do better and just keep it moving.
Yeah. You looked at who you're becoming.
Yeah.
The future person that Shondell is going to be requires some flexibility and freedom.
Yes.
In order to do that and have the lifestyle that you wanted for yourself and your family and your 2 kids, we're just going to assume that it's only 2 kids because,
we're done.
I'm just done. Like, okay. So y'all can't see her right now, but The way she came to slay right today, okay, I don't know, but all right, I'm gonna let you have that moment and let you tell yourself
We
that
are
story.
done.
But you saw this future self and said, in order to be here, I have to have room to do what I want to do. So that required you to continue to hire, but to hire smarter, to be more strategic about who you brought in your team, and obviously, to get lawyered up, right? Like to make sure your contracts, to your point, your I's were dotted, your T's were crossed, were up. But even with that, there's some people who will still say that they want that future self, but then it scares them to consider leaving the quote unquote business baby. And to your point, self-preservation is really crucial. All day long, I'm hashtag certified selfish for life, right? Like I literally wrote the book on selfish. So if my husband or my kids say, Mom, you being selfish, I'm like, I know, I wrote the book on it. Like, and I literally walk away from them like, I gave you that no for a reason, and I'm not going to explain it, whatever that is. Those boundaries that you put in your business so that you can enjoy the life that you're creating are crucial. Absolutely. And even though it made you look at what could have been really scary, somebody betrayed the trust of our client, right? Like all the layers, it could have literally rocked you to your core and shifted you away from the possibilities that were ahead. So I have to give you kudos for that, because there's a lot of people who would have got stuck.
Yeah, thank you. I think who you surround yourself with too makes a difference.
It does.
I'm really big on surrounding myself with people who are where I want to be, whether that's, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I try to, because then it helps you to get unstuck, right?
Yes.
We all go through fears and insecurities and doubts and things like that. Nobody's really immune from that. But I think it's when you stay in those places that cripples you, right? And if you have the right people around you, I'm very, I read my Bible every day. I really have a great relationship with God. So that also helps.
Yes.
We need that. I think, and we need each other, right? I think that having the right people around you to help you walk this journey of life is really what it's all about, right? We're all supposed to be here to complement who we are in God, right? We need each other to function, to move forward, to get to where we're going. And, I'm just not afraid to ask for help or to hire help. I'm not I've just, I think that in order for me to be the best wife, the best mother, the best Shondell, I can't be worn out all the time. Like I have to preserve me, right? And that may sound selfish to some people, but if you think about doing every single thing, you won't really have anything left. That your glass will be empty, right?
All the time.
You won't have anything left to give. And how are you going to show up as your best self in this world if you're doing everything? Like no one was meant to do everything.
Yeah, exactly. I have to, my husband's going to be real mad because he edits our podcast, but I had to shake some maracas for that moment more than anything. You're right on so many levels. Your Corey, which is what I call your circle of reciprocal influences, those people at various levels of your life, personally and professionally, that not only give to you, but you give back with reciprocity, is really important. But it's really hard to establish a Corey, to have that circle, if you're always the giver. If you're always the one doing it, you're not even allowing space for someone to give back to you. And then toxic relationships form, right? Because then there are people who are like, oh, well, I tried to give back to Naketa. She never accepted it. So whatever. And they just start turning into tapping, right? They just tapping into my energy constantly. And then there's people who feel so bad about not being able to share their blessing with you, to share their gifts, talent, skills, whether you are, paying them for it or not. They want to be able to do it and you're not allowing them to. So they just bail all the way out. And now you've blocked blessings and pushed people out of your Corey who really belong to be there. Because they're like, I don't do lack of reciprocity. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that only wants to give to me, but never allows me to give to them. There's two ways to that. Not everyone is coming to take. Some people feel, infuriated that they weren't allowed to give to you because you didn't have any room for it. And you're not only hurting yourself by that, you're hurting a potentially healthy, strong relationship, personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
So I love that you said that. And I will say, like you said earlier, it's like some people might think that that's selfish for you to make this time for yourself. I'm like, yeah, it is selfish, and selfish is good. I redefined it personally as a personal, intimate gift to create your joy.
Yes.
When you are selfish,
Yes.
you get to say, I need to breathe.
Yeah.
I need a moment to deal with the fact that maybe I'm having some insecurities and I don't even know where it's coming from.
Yes.
There's some inner child work. Something got triggered and I
Yes.
need to deal with where that came. I need a moment to
Mm-hmm.
deal with that. Be selfish enough to do it. And if that means aligning your schedule to say, you know what, 8 to 10, woo, child, 8 to 10 loads of laundry a week.
Yeah, we got a lot because we got 2 kids and, you know, I got a baby and,
Oh,
you know, yeah, it's I didn't know we had that many until our housekeeper said, you guys have 8 to 10 loads of laundry a week. I didn't know we had that many.
But
yeah,
you know,
it's a lot.
and that's at least, I'm assuming roughly 15 minutes per wash cycle. That's at least 2 to 4 hours minimum worth of time that you can say, you know, well, that you have said actually, that's 2 to 4 hours of time that I want to reclaim that time for me. So call it selfish that I'm pouring into someone else's pocket, that I've created a job.
Exactly.
Call it selfish that I'm giving to someone else's family because they're helping me and I'm helping them.
Exactly.
And I'm doing it so I can have the time. You call it whatever you want. I'm claiming it as my space.
And that's the shift in mindset. That's the shift in mindset, because I talked to some friends that, you know, I have a friend who was like, why do you have a housekeeper? And I said, first of all, I don't need to, you know, explain any of that. But I think what was more important in that conversation was the shift in mindset, because I said that frees me up to spend more quality time with my kids. Right. I never look at, you know, laundry as spending quality time, especially if it's not something you enjoy doing, because then you're complaining about it, or you're like, you know, it's just too much, especially when we have several businesses. So, you know, time is of the essence with us. And, you know, it's funny because I'm really big on, creating jobs for people too. Like, why not? Like, our housekeeper is happy. And the thing is too, I think we all have different gifts and different people enjoy different things.
Absolutely.
If somebody enjoys doing that and you're able to pay someone to do that, why not? Like, if you enjoy doing it, then do it. But it's not something that I really enjoy doing. And if I can provide something for someone else and she can help me and I help her, why not? Like, that's like hours I can spend doing something else that I enjoy. And then it helps me to show up, you know, as a better Shondell. Yes, as a better Shondell, because I'm not spending time doing something that is draining or something that I don't necessarily want to do. I can spend time doing something that I enjoy doing. So it just makes me a happier person, and I show up to this world a better me. So it's just I never have a problem with hiring help or getting help. I really think it takes a team to make the dream work. I love that saying.
It is.
Really
What is
does.
teamwork makes the dream work? Absolutely. That's another hashtag we'll be using on this one.
It does. Get a team around you to help you, you know, to create those systems and, you know, create that life that you've always wanted.
Without the shame.
Yeah, without the shame. Absolutely.
To your point, right? Like, why do you need a housekeeper? As if that's to be a statement of like, who do you think you are? That's what I hear when someone asks you that. Like, my name is Shondell.
Yeah, because we want one. I mean, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing. If you want to hire a chef, hire a chef. Like, do whatever is going to make your family function at the highest level, or whatever is going to make you function at a higher level, whatever that looks like to you. It's not, you know, necessarily what I think or what I wanted. This is just what works for us. But, you know, whatever works for you, you know that and go after it unapologetically.
Whew, honey, you know you speak my language. You made me think about the show. I think they only did one season on Netflix, and they're probably gearing up for another called The Home Edit. Did you see?
No, I didn't see that.
So it's 2 women. I think they're in North Carolina, so one of the southern states in the United States, that is. And they created a show around their business, which is literally to go into homes and edit something. They edit and organize. So they might take your refrigerator, edit out, you know, get you to get rid of things that don't belong. Most of the shows usually do a closet or a baby's room or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're really, you know, it's similar to the other show. I don't want to mistakenly give the wrong name, but the one that has you like spark your joy, right? Like with taking Marie Kondo, I think her name is, with Spark Your Joy. That was another organization based show that was out there. But it's a really similar thought. Like, people say that's okay for you to hire an organizer. That's okay. To bring an organizer into your crazy closet, your wacky garage, your refrigerator, and your kitchen cabinets with all the nonsense and spices all over the place, that's okay. But they put shame on you for hiring a housekeeper. Like when you think about the hypocrisy of that, is really interesting. Like there's a huge show about editing and organizing, and this is not the first one. There's that other one I think was called Spark Your Joy or something that is the same, but let them have a show about how someone who loves to clean, who loves to have things clean, to help people understand that there's a better way to clean. Let them do that, and their name is not Martha Stewart.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like there's a whole nother contingency that where I'm going with that conversation.
Yeah.
There's so much hypocrisy in it. So before I get on my soapbox, I have to ask you, because you made great space in your business life and in your personal life with being really clear about delegating and hiring team and really supporting your family so you can show up fully for everyone that matters to you, not just in your house, but I know you're close to your parents, like all of that.
Yeah.
When you have those moments when you just feel like, you know what, I'm a little bit low, my fuel tank is low, I need to give myself permission to pause. How do you do that?
Okay, so I do that every day. I go to the gym.
So, to break out the maracas.
My husband and I had this conversation when we first moved here because we got married in 2012, and I was single for quite some time before I met him. So, meeting him and marrying him, and then, we had Soraya 2 years after that, and then we moved to a different country. So we quit our jobs, we moved to a different country, we had a baby, we started like there was a lot that happened within the few years of us getting married. And what was happening was I found that I was losing myself in my marriage, and then after I had Soraya, I was losing myself in him as my husband and in my child, and I didn't like that. I wasn't myself as I used to be prior to meeting my husband and getting married. And, I knew that, it was just so many things that were happening that were just so different. But at the same time, I also knew me enough to know that if I wanted to be the best Shondell, I needed to be able to have things that I did prior to marriage now, or at that time when I was married and had my daughter and we lived here. So I have always loved working out, always. So I made the decision that I was going to make that commitment and work out every single, 5 days a week before everybody gets up. So I get up at 4 and I'm at the gym at 5, every day. And that's my time from 5 to 6:30, 5 days a week. And then I get back before everyone even gets up. But I made that commitment to myself because that just allows me to recharge, to re-energize, to think. It's my time where I'm able to, just get back to me again. And that was just a commitment I've made because that's what works for me. And I need time by myself every single day. And my husband and I had this conversation, and I'm very open with how I feel and what is going to help me to show up as the best wife I can be to you, as the best mother I can be to the kids, and as the best me. And he was very understanding. He's like, yeah, go. And even sometimes on the weekend or a Friday night, if I'm stressed, I'll go to the gym.
Yeah.
He's very, doesn't say anything. He's just he understands that I need that. I need that time for myself just to show up at my highest level. And, he's good with that. And that's what I do. That's what I do for myself.
No, I love that. You have a physical outlet that you get to benefit from internally.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh my goodness, Shondell, we could talk forever. So how can people connect with you and learn even more? Because I know that they are inspired by so many parts of you, including the fact that you are walking your talk and truly living fully. And that's not even this podcast, but that you're doing that is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. My ideal customers are on LinkedIn. So that's the social media site that I'm on daily. So my handle is Shondell Varciana. I'm on Facebook too, but LinkedIn more so than anywhere else. So you can always get a hold of me on LinkedIn. And my website, varcimedia.com, VARCI media.com. You can get a hold of me there as well.
No, that's perfect. And we'll make sure all the links are tagged in here because we are going to have Shondell back. We're going to be featuring her on our next podcast called Live Fully, which I'm not even supposed to be talking about yet, but she made me say it. So you guys can't see that we can see each other right now. So she gave me the looks like, yes, you better talk about it. Video is where it's at, girl, and you better put it in there. This is so awesome. You are a blessing. I'm glad
Oh,
that you showed up and that we had this time that you could carve it out of your day.
thank
Um,
you.
you are incredible and such a gift for the world. So thank you for being here.
So are you. Thank you so much for having me. Awesome chat.
Balance boldly, listeners. Did I not show up? I told you I would, like all day long. Like, think about the many different ways that Shondell just gave you to consider for reshaping and reframing how you do what you do to become who you're becoming as you step into the fullness of wherever you're going in your dream. If you are fully embracing being a mogul, if you are already a mogul and you're embracing having less on your plate but more philanthropy, if you are embracing expanding your family, or maybe now like us, we're trying to become empty nesters. Like, we're trying to get there. The COVID won't let us be great. So that's why my daughter's here. Instead of being like in the dorm or in her apartment in school, she's here. It won't let us be great. But as we're like getting there, there's lots of reframing that Shondell just gave for all of us to consider, like, how can you do it different so you can decrease your stress? April is Stress Awareness Month. It is very serious for you to consider if you are tired of your tired, if you are exhausted and frustrated with everything coming at you through every window, door, and angle, just plopping down in your emotional being, and you're feeling really heavy and weighted. Look at your life and where you actually have some control that you didn't think you had control before. Could you delegate housekeeping? Could you bring in a chef once a week? Could you dedicate once a week is absolutely going to be pizza night? Like, that is it. That is a night I'm not cooking. Sundays, I'm going to do some stuff in a crock pot, and those 3 meals that come out of that for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, y'all better make it work, and everybody eat pretzels and chips on a Saturday. I don't care, right? Like, like really looking at like how this can work. And I'm picking on like lighthearted, silly stuff. But if you are caregiving for adult, elderly family members, is there a way for you to get help? Like, yes, they may have home, I don't know why I was going to say homekeeping, but home caregiver, to come in and help them already. But that's not 24/7 normally. Normally, that's only for a certain amount of hours, and then you're back on the clock. And you might only have that while you're quote unquote at work. And then as soon as you come home, that's another job. Is there a way for you to get more support for 2 or 3 extra hours, 3 days a week? And yes, it is an investment. Yes, it is going to cost you something, but look at the cost of inaction before you start looking at the money that has to go at it. What is it costing you in your energy, in your mental health, in your spirit, in your time? What is it costing you in your marriage for you to be so stressed out and overwhelmed? If you are not married and you are single and savvy and loving it, but you are dating and you would like some more love, what is it costing you to be so busy that you're not able to be as truly productive as you can be because you're not delegating in other areas, feeling like you have to be the one to be, as Shondell said, the superwoman, to do it all, and then have nothing left for yourself. So in the spirit of this being the 1-year anniversary of Selfish, my survivor memoir and personal transformation story that I talk to you guys about all the time, I want you to really stand in a space where you take a deep breath. Take a deep breath right now as you're listening to this, and think about what you really want from your life. Selfishness isn't about being in your ego, putting other people down, betraying people that you love, feeling high and mighty. It is a personal, intimate gift to yourself so you can create your joy. Everyone benefits when you create your joy. Take a breath and look at what joy can become if you're not doing everything for everyone all the time. Give yourself that permission to pause, live, love, and laugh. Make some space for laughing your way to your joy. So I leave you with that today. If you are not already in the Certified Selfish Facebook group, it is free. Come join us there. A couple of gate questions so we can make sure that you are who you say you are, and we can love on you fully, and we can give you your map to joy. You guys know that we just wrapped up the Joy Map method. We'll do it again in a few months or so. We do it a few times a year, where I literally give you the blueprint for creating your joy. So make sure you come into Certified Selfish. Follow me at Ask Naketa whatever platform makes you feel good, Clubhouse, Instagram, you name it. I'm Ask Naketa everywhere. And let's continue the conversation. In the interim, I want you to continue to create your joy and create your balance as boldly as possible. And don't limit yourself by the expectations of others. I'll talk to you soon.